Hi everyone, this is Rebekah Keppel. I'm here for ThermWeb today. I want to show you how I created this cute little apron shaped card and how I made the dimensional foiled sentiment that says "so." So I cut everything out using my Silhouette Cameo. I used mostly some papers from Jelly Bean Soup. I also used some Gina cardstock. And then I cut some mixed media sheets, these heavyweight sheets. These are perfect. They feel like fabric, so I thought that they were great little fabric accents, but they're so much easier to cut than fabric. So you can cut them with your electronic die cut machine. So I'm going to line up the sentiment at the bottom of the apron because all the other things are at the top. And I'm going to have a sentiment there that I'm going to stamp and heat emboss. So I'm moving everything aside, just lining it up where it needs to be on that apron. I'm just going to use an acrylic block for this stamping. Usually I use my Misty when I'm making cards and stamping, but since this is a shaped card, I think it's just as easy to grab an acrylic block and do that. Since I'm heat embossing, I'm going to use some EK Success powder tool to keep the powder from sticking where I don't want it. I'm using VersaFine Black Onyx ink on the stamp to ink that up, and then I'm just going to stamp that down, and once I have it stamped, I'm going to apply some clear embossing powder. This is just going to give it a slightly raised and very shiny appearance. I think it helps it stand out when you're stamping on pattern paper to do this heat embossing. The next part of the sentiment I'm going to die cut out of mixed media foam sheets. These are from Rebekah Meier Designs, and these cut beautifully in a manual die cut machine. So I'm just going to cut off a small piece of that foam sheet and then lay it down in my die cut machine, and I'm going to place the die with the cutting side down onto those mixed media sheets and just run it through. I usually run it through once and then back again just to make sure I get a nice clean cut. Once that's done, I am ready to foil it. So first I'm going to grab some fancy foils. This is from Gina Designs for ThermWeb. It's Turquoise C. I have my Spellbinders tool-in-one that I'm using to poke the small die cut out. The only reason it's stuck is because the sentiment is very fine, and I could have used a little bit of a dryer sheet to run through with that sentiment first, and I forgot to do it. So now I'm removing the backing from the mixed media foam sheets, and I'm going to carefully lay that sentiment down on my card right above the sub-sentiment there. Make sure you know where you want these mixed media foam sheets because they are very sticky. Once you put them down, they're there for good. It's very hard to remove them. So next I'm going to cut a small piece of the Gina Designs Turquoise C fancy foils, and I'm going to remove the top protective layer of that mixed media foam sheet. That comes off very easily. And then I'm going to take the foil with the color side facing me, facing up, and I'm going to place it down on the foam, and then I'm going to rub it with my finger, not with my nail, and then I'm going to peel it back, and you can see that that top sentiment there now is dimensional and foiled. So to adhere everything together, I'm going to use two different ThermWeb adhesives. For the pattern paper and the cardstock, I'm going to use ThermWeb's Memory Runner XL, which is a great tape runner, and it's very adhesive. So once it's down, you can move it for a second, but then once it's really stuck down, it's not going anywhere. So it's perfect for cards that you're going to send in the mail. For the mixed media sheets, the heavyweight sheets, I'm going to use the iCraft Mixed Media Liquid Adhesive. This is great for porous to porous surfaces like paper and the mixed media sheets. So that is pretty much how I put this card together. The last thing I decided it needed was just a few embellishments, and in order to adhere those, I grabbed a box of ThermWeb zips. Now zips are long lines of adhesive. You can use them to put things like long pieces of trim down. You can use them paper to paper. They're also great for hard embellishments like this button and the pearls. As long as you have a pair of non-stick scissors, you can cut them into tiny little strips and they fit behind even those tiny little pearls. So I'm going to do that 3 times. I'm going to cut 3 tiny little pieces, and what I do is I cut the little piece of the zip and then I lay the embellishment on top, and the backing is still on the back of the zip. So once I have the zip adhered to the embellishment, then I peel that backing off, and then it's ready to be adhered down to your card or your layout or whatever you're creating. These zips are also very, very sticky, so make sure you have them where you want them as well. So that completes my apron shaped card with my foiled and dimensional sentiment. I will have all of the ThermWeb products that I use linked down below. I want to thank you so much for stopping by today. Have a great day.